The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apaccia, here with my good buddy Keith. You guys know what that means. It's a wonderful Wednesday. We're here to break down this 9-game slate. It is May 5th. Keith, how was your May 4th? Anything Star Wars related happened? But more importantly, man, it's been a whole week. How's everything? How you been?
There was something Star Wars related today, and since she'll never listen to us, I can probably go ahead and say I got my wife a Build-A-Bear, but it was actually the child from The Mandalorian. So I went ahead and got that from the Build-A-Bear today at the mall, and going to give that to her for Mother's Day. So she's going to really enjoy it. So May the 4th be with you all, for sure.
So was it when you say the child, was it like Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people refer to it as Baby Yoda, yeah.
I know, and I watched The Mandalorian. Amazing show. I'm not like one of those diehard Star Wars buff. I can appreciate it. I have not seen every single movie that there is. I've seen a lot of the big ones. Probably couldn't recall, I would say, 50% of them. But listen, The Mandalorian was fantastic. Once they said Baby Yoda's real name, it kind of took a little bit away from him. I still call him Baby Yoda. It is what it is, but glad you could enjoy it, man. But glad to be here with you. Before we just jump in here, man, before we just tackle this 9-game slate, quick little shout out to our presenting sponsor over at MyBookie. Guys, check them out. If you haven't already, I don't know what you're doing. When you head over there, use the promo code HoopBall, HOOPBALL. They will match your deposit 50% on up to $1,000. So you put in $1,000, they'll give you $500 for free. It's free money. They're giving it to you. On your initial sign up, use that promo code HoopBall. And you can use it in any way, shape, or form. You could do it, bet it all one night. You could do it in short little spurts. Baseball, basketball. You could go do the casino games, however you like, however you please. Use that promo code HoopBall over there at mybookie.ag. All right, Keith. First game of the night. We have the Boston Celtics traveling to Orlando, taking on the Magic. No game totals, no spreads right now. So I get to save myself from guessing wrong on which ones we actually have, which ones we don't. But for the injury report, Jaylen Brown ruled out. Tristan Thompson is questionable for the Magic. Buckle up. Michael Carter-Williams, James Ennis, Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, Chumo Kiki, Otto Porter, Terrence Ross, all ruled out. A lot of bodies, but they're bodies that we've been used to seeing, I guess, ruled out. So I'll pass it over to you. We'll start off with the Celtics team. No Jaylen Brown. I guess we could expect a little usage to be divvied up between some other players, but which way are you looking?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, if the Celtics blow out the Magic or not. I mean, they're totally capable of it. They've played like crap of late and then kind of come on later in games. So who knows? But if this isn't a blowout, I obviously like some Jason Tatum at 10-1 without Jaylen Brown. Anytime Jaylen Brown hasn't played the last 2 out of the last 3, he scored like 35-plus points. So huge role for him in the offense, obviously. But without Jaylen Brown, he gets even more usage. Same thing with Kemba Walker at 7-3 and Marcus Smart at 6-7. I'll go there in some GPPs, but I think I'm probably staying away from this game in cash because of the very real blowout potential. One guy I would look at though, if you're trying to mine this game for GPPs, Romeo Langford actually got quite a bit of minutes when Jaylen Brown didn't play those last 2 times. So you might be able to look at him. He's bottom in pricing. He doesn't do much when he's in. That's the downside. But if you're looking for a dart throw, I wouldn't mind throwing a dart at him in a GPP.
All right. Yeah, listen, I'm kind of right there with you. I think, I don't mind taking a stab at Tatum. This game definitely has that blow-up potential. It definitely has some risk associated. We have 9 games total. Do we need to spend up on this one? Probably not, but if you want to get some options in here, I don't mind looking at guys like Tatum. If you want to take a stab at Kemba at 73, both those guys knowing that they're going to probably get a few more shot attempts each. Sure, why not? I like your Langford call. It's not somebody I was really looking at, but definitely something I can consider, especially with Fournier. He kind of came out and said he's feeling the lingering effects of COVID. It's very similar to with Tatum. He said it himself.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like himself. He actually said it's heartbreaking, is his exact words, because he doesn't feel like he's been himself since he's been a Celtic, which is he just wants to show his game off. So I don't mind it. Knowing that they're going to be thin on the wing, he's probably going to be looking at, I would think, at least mid-20s. Orlando side of the ball, though. No Kiki again. We've been seeing Mo Wagner take advantage of that. Mo Bamba coming off of a monster game as well. Who are you looking at over here?
Yeah, you mentioned Mo Bamba. I do love some Mo Bamba at 5'3". I mean, the Celtics, they're going to have Robert Williams for this one, I believe. So, a little bit more stout and down low against the center position, but you generally want to attack him at the center position anyways. And Time Lord's not exactly the most intimidating defender. So, I'll take some Mo Bamba at 5'3". He can also step outside and hit the 3-point shot as well. He just contributes so many different ways, blocks, all parts of his game. So, I do like that as a sneaky play. Is it chalky? No, not at all. Is it for certain? Not at all. But I'll take some stabs at him for sure. And then Dwayne Bacon at 4,900. I also like him, just at that price range for the amount of volume of shots he's going to get up against the Celtics team. The Celtics have kind of a stout defense though, so not looking at them too much. But if I land on them, I'd enjoy it.
All right. Yeah. Listen, I can get down to Mo Bamba. 53. Not like premier perfect play. Definitely risk associated with him, like you said. Coming off of a big game, kind of feels like we're almost chasing, but the matchup's there. The price tag's still fine. He's been outplaying Wendell Carter Jr. in limited minutes. And, bottom line, Orlando, they're giving this guy an extended look, something that they probably should have done a while ago. They just never had the opportunity with Vucevic around. So I'm glad to see it. He's one of their best point per minute producers, the best one they probably have on their team. So as long as he's getting 22 to 24 minutes, he's going to pay off the price tag around $5K and $5,500. So I don't mind taking stabs at him. Other than him, I don't see myself going to too much. Maybe RJ Hampton. This dude's just been an absolute pistol the past few games. Could he put together 3 straight games of 40-plus DK points? Seems a little outlandish. It's a tough matchup to do it in as well. Having to go against the defensive backcourt involving Marcus Smart is never a fun thing to do. But at that price tag, $4,500, I don't mind taking a couple stabs on it. I just expect myself to be a little under the field. I think he's going to draw a lot of ownership. But we'll see. That's it for me, though. You ready to move on to the next one?
I'm ready, man.
All right. Portland Trailblazers traveling to Cleveland, taking on the Cavaliers. Cavs on the second half of a back-to-back in this one. They played the Suns. For Portland, Zach Collins rolled out. Damian Lillard is probable. Norman Powell is questionable. We'll start off with Portland here. Start off with the away team. They're getting a Cavs team on the second half of a back-to-back. Cavs likely to, I would assume, maybe rest a couple bodies here. Maybe at least 1 or 2 bodies here. But Kevin Love could be looking at some rest. We could see some of the backcourt. Maybe get a night off. But nonetheless, it's not going to be the greatest matchup for them to walk into. Portland's been playing great basketball. Damian Lillard's just been absolutely hot. I like it. I like the matchup for any of these Blazers guys. It's just not a spot that I want to say is like a home run smash spot for me. If I'm looking at anybody, it would probably be Nurkic, and I might just draw the line there.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, Portland's just been burying teams. I mean, 30-plus point blowouts. I think it was 2 or 3 games, and this Cavs team isn't very good, and like you said, they're coming off a back-to-back, so just not a whole lot to like here as far as game environment goes. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking a stab at Dame Lillard in a GPP. He's only 9,400. That can save you a few bucks to go after some other guys. The other guy I'd look at though is Carmelo Anthony, 3,900, just in an up-tempo game, lots of shots to go around. So I do like him there at that price tag as well. But like you said, the blowout potential is really there. The Cavs just, I mean, they're not really that great. They're not really interested in winning. So, if Sexton plays, I do like him at 8,100. Just kind of move over to that side of the ball. And that's only if Garland's out. I'm assuming Garland's probably more on the doubtful side than he is on the questionable side. And then I like some Jetty Osman also at 5,500 on the Cavs. If Garland's not playing again, he'll slot into that starting lineup again. Just put up a big game. Maybe it feels like a Jason, but the Blazers are up tempo, and so are the Cavs. So there's a lot of pace to like in this game, but that blow up potential is real.
Did you happen to catch how many minutes Kevin Love played tonight?
I did not know.
Okay, this is something I'm definitely going to just keep an eye on. He usually plays high 20s minutes in one half of a game in a back-to-back, like 27 to 29, and then the second half he's usually floating around the low 20s.
He
So
managed 33 minutes and 39 seconds tonight.
yeah, then I would probably assume Kevin Love is going to be looking more like at 22 minutes if he plays in this one, which he should play. He's been playing the back-to-back spot.
Jetty Osman put up 45 minutes, actually, which is kind of crazy to think about. But so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he rests too. I don't know. Who knows?
And that's exactly. It's not like they have a ton of options though either right now, especially
Yeah.
when they're talking about on the wing. They don't really have the bodies. They're still missing Dellavedova. They're still missing Prince. Larry Nance Jr. is going to be out for a little bit. Garland's been a little hobbled, so they may have no choice but to play these guys. But if they have an option to, I guess, rest anybody, it's going to be guys in the front court. They could do it there. They have Dean Wade. They still have, Jared Allen. They still have a couple bodies. I don't know if Hartenstein will be available for this game, but just something worth noting. I wouldn't expect him to play much more than 22 or 24 minutes at the most. I'm not really looking at anybody over here on the Cavs. Wouldn't fault you if you wanted to go to a couple of these options. They might be guys I'd look at, as we get closer to lineups locking and we kind of get an idea of who's in, who's out, what kind of starting lineup, how many players are available. Once I know that information, if they only have 8 players available, 7 players available, yeah, of course, because a lot of these Cavs become options just based on usage and minutes alone. But not much I'm looking at right now. But we'll move on to the next game. We just talked about Cleveland facing the Suns. Now we got Phoenix. Cleveland facing the Suns. Yeah, I said that right. Now we got Phoenix, the other team that played on that front end of the back-to-back. They're on the second half of the back-to-back, traveling to Atlanta, taking on the Hawks for the Hawks. Bojan Bogdanovic is probable. DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish ruled out. No injury report yet for the Suns, like I said, second half of the back-to-back. Looking at the Suns team, they needed to play. As much as disrespect we just threw on the Cavs, I think we both pretty much said they're pretty terrible. They played a tough game. Phoenix, I think a lot of people, I know me personally, I wasn't very on that game. I was expecting this to pretty much be a cakewalk for Phoenix. It would be a blowout. These guys aren't going to get the minutes. But they played. Looking at this matchup, it's probably going to be what I would assume on paper be a little bit more competitive than the Cavs. So I'm not just going to assume it's going to be a blowout. With that being said, Chris Paul, 7,500 going against the Hawks, going against Trae Young. I think it's absolutely something that we need to look at. It's something I'll look at. He'd probably be my preferred option and my favorite play on this team. And I want to say Bridges, but I'd be absolutely chasing. I like Bridges in this matchup, but I just don't like him coming off of a big game and probably some ownership drifting towards his way. I'll probably take a pass and just leave myself with just Chris Paul here. Outside of that, I think I'll find some better options than Booker at 8 and for similar price tags.
Yeah, I always love CP3. I am on Booker though at 8,300. Tonight he had 21 points in the first half, and then he went and had like 6 points in the second half. But regardless, he's just been on fire recently, and I think the Hawks can really. It's really a juicy matchup for him. So could see myself taking some stabs at Booker, but like you said, there's probably better options out there. But I'm definitely not ruling him out of my player pool. The other guy I'm going to add that's definitely lower on the price pool is on the price list here is Cameron Payne, 3,300. He's put up 25 or so DK points in the last 3 in a row. Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young, no defense. I like it, man. I like to have him as a salary saver. I think he's definitely a good value there at just 300 over the minimum.
It's a good call, especially anytime the Suns are on a back-to-back. I mean, if their goal right now, when they're playing 2 straight games, is to blow out one of these teams.
Yeah.
Give CP3 and some of these guys a little rest if possible. But
yeah, I'm definitely not playing CP3 and Campaign in the same the same lineup. My narrative, if I play Campaign, is that CP3 is going to get 25 to maybe 30 minutes, and then Campaign's going to get the rest of those minutes.
I like it. I like that call. On the other side of the ball, I'm not looking at absolutely anything over here. So if you have anything, let me know.
Hard pass. I mean, you can always go Trae Young, but yeah, there's just so many better options. I'm a hard pass also.
Oh yeah, I would take Lillard. I think Lillard over him. We'll get to probably plenty of names that we could talk about. So we'll just keep going. Next game, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Philadelphia 76ers traveling to Houston, taking on the Rockets. For the Rockets, Sterling Brown, Dante Exum, Eric Gordon, David Nwaba, John Wall, DJ Wilson, all ruled out. Daniel House Jr. is doubtful. DJ Augustine is questionable for the Sixers. Furkan Korkmaz is ruled out. He's the only person listed on the injury report for them. So everybody else should be good to go for what we have right now. But this is a game that we want to, like, if this is a game early on in the season. We see it on the schedule. We're starring. We want to play. We want to get some Simmons. We want to get some Embiid. We want to get some Harris, and I still do. But if you're talking about a game, that you might be a little bit worried a blowout. This is one of those games for me. It's all going to be about how you game script this one. If you think this game's going to stay close, if you think it could stay intact, which we've seen Houston be able to kind of, trade some blows, throw some punches, then yeah, absolutely. Ben Simmons, Harris, Embiid, all three of these guys, absolutely phenomenal plays. Even Seth Curry, 4K, I think he'd make for a great value play. If your game script to get a little bit out of hand, then yeah, you probably want to back off of a lot of these guys. Maybe get a little Howard shares at 4,200. But you could probably still play Seth Curry at 4K. But it's all about the game script. And if I'm playing any of these big guys over here, I might want to run it back with somebody over there in Houston. Just my approach. But why don't you let me know what you're doing over here?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, man. You're definitely on it. So for that reason, I'm not looking to spend on those big guys. I'm passing on Embiid. I'm passing on Simmons. I mean, I just watched them play. The 76ers just played the Bulls, and these guys are going through the motions, which is fine. I mean, they're going to win the game anyways. This is like the fourth easy matchup for the Sixers in a row, and those guys haven't been exactly lighting on fire. So I'll take a pass on those guys. I'll try to minimize any kind of risk I have here. I'll go Tobias Harris at 6,800. Like you said, Seth Curry 4K. I think he's in a great spot here. He's hit two games in a row against some pretty bad opponents where he's hit 35 plus DK points. So I think he's a great value at 4K. And then I'm always going to be interested in some Danny Green. The dude hits threes and block shots, and just the ways that he contributes are just so versatile. I'll always have some interest in him. So 3,900 I think is just such a low price. I'm looking his way. Does he get a lot of run here? I don't know. Is it a blowout? Maybe, I don't know. So I'd probably go Seth Curry over Danny Green in most scenarios.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Danny Green sometimes he can make you pay just with his steals and blocks. Like one of those games he has like four steals, 2 blocks. All of a sudden he's putting up 35 DK points. But looking at this Houston side of the ball, they just don't have a lot of bodies. I don't like any of these price tags. I don't want to pay 8,900 for Christian Wood going against Joel Embiid. This could easily be one of those matchups where he finds himself in foul trouble pretty quickly. And outside of Wood, they don't really have too much front court depth. They'll probably just be looking at sliding Olynyk up to the 5. And then outside of that, they're without a lot. They're without DJ Wilson. They might do some Kevin Martin Jr. at small ball if they have to. But that's what I mean. If this game gets out of hand, it very well could very easily. As soon as Christian Wood gets 2 fouls on him in the first quarter, I just don't see how this team can keep it in touch. But those guys like Kevin Martin Jr., I don't mind taking a stab at him just simply because 3,900, decent GPP play, probably won't have a ton of ownership. And if he plays 24, 25 minutes of just straight garbage time, he can pay off that price tag pretty easily. Outside of that, I just can't pay these price tags.
We're 100% seeking this one. KJ is the only guy I have on my list here from the Rockets. 3,900. I like the price tag. I like the opportunity in case it is a blowout. This guy's going to get 30 plus minutes. So I'm definitely leaning hard into the stars and scrubs narrative and builds for this slate myself, because I see a lot of guys 4K and under that I wouldn't mind taking stabs at. And I'm mostly a GPP guy at this point. So I like some KJ.
It's kind of hard not to take that approach, I guess, at this point in time during the season and the kind of season that we're having with just so many guys that get, late scratched or, like today. We found out, midway through the day after the pricing that 2 major players for the Hornets were ruled out. And then all of a sudden, it's just there's always going to be value on these types of slates where you're going to have the availability to feel pretty good about your value and get 2 stars if on almost every given slate. Any game I'd say that has more than, or slate that has any more than 6 games. Pretty easy. Been my approach for most of these as well.
Yeah, so it's important, and if anyone that gets a DFS delivery here with the DFS pass for Paul, it's important to take a look at the standings right now and just to know, who's actually in a game that means something, because you want to play the stars in those games, obviously, and if it's a game where at least one of the teams doesn't really have much to play for, probably want to avoid the stars in those games for the most part. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule, but that's a good general way to approach it at first.
Absolutely, great call. All right, my man. 5th game of the night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. Sacramento Kings traveling to Indiana, taking on the Pacers. It's a game involving the Pacers. Kings play zero defense. I'm assuming that this is going to be like a 190 to 185 game, just based on the Pacers' recent track record with their game totals. These guys have just been absolutely, it's been crazy. Just the amount of points that they've been able to put on. 292 points they've scored over the last 2 games. That's got to be something. I'm sure it's not a record, but it feels like all-star game kind of scoring. So we'll get into the injury report for this game, though. Like I said, Pacers defending the home court, Kings traveling to there. Kings on the second half of a back-to-back, so no injury report for them. But the Pacers, Goga, Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Lamb, Edmund, Sumner, all questionable. Jakar Sampson, Miles Turner, TJ Warren, all ruled out. Start off with this Sacramento side of the ball. I think we know where we're pretty much looking without Halliburton, without Fox, without Barnes. Bagley, 5,400. I'm going to continue to play him. Second half of a back-to-back doesn't really scare me too much. Again, now that this guy's playing minutes, it's never a conditioning thing. He didn't hurt his knee. He didn't do anything like that. Hurt his hand or thumb, I think more specifically. Conditioning should be fine. Back-to-back, he should be fine. So 5,400, I'll continue to play him. You go right back to the well. A guy like DeLon Wright, especially if there's no Brogdon, 5,600. The offense is going to have to flow through this guy. Only other backup point guard that they have really is Kyle Guy. And then one guy that I had a fair amount of shares of, because anytime that you know that the chalk is going to go right to DeLon Wright and there's somebody else on that team that you could look at, and it's Terence Davis at 4,400. Has that small forward eligibility as well. You should see a significant run at the 2. He's playing a decent amount of the 2 tonight as well. He'll slide over to the 3 a little bit. Bottom line is just DeLon Wright is going to have to primarily play point guard, and he's probably going to be looking at 35 to 36 minutes there. So that should leave a good amount of minutes open on the wing. And between him and Harkless, these 2 guys, I think Terence Davis is the guy I'd rather play. Just a better point per minute producer, a little younger, a little bit more spry. He's going to get it done in a few different ways. So those are the guys I'm looking at. I'll never fault you if you want to look at Buddy Hield, but I think you already know this, Keith. I don't play Buddy Hield. It doesn't matter how many people are out for this team. I wouldn't fault you if you did. I get it. He should take 30-something shots. Now, realistically, he's gonna lead the team in shots. He should take close to 20, if not 22, 23. I just don't want to play him. I just expect him to shoot like 6 of 23, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just think I do have a lot of Buddy Hield interest. 7,700, just because of the ability of this game to go, 140 to 130 or something crazy like that. You just mentioned all the points that were scored. I mean, so I do have some interest in Buddy Hield, but I think you're spot on that DeLon Wright and Marvin Bagley are probably the 2 I'm most excited about to play on the Kings side. So we're in line there, but I will be playing some Hield. You can skip him if you want. That's fine. Hopefully I'll beat you, but no, it's no. I did roster him. I think it was like 4 days ago, and he came through for me in a big win. So yeah, I got some interest there.
All right. At least you got some wins from him. I can't remember the last time I've ever played Buddy Hield in one body. That's why I just stopped. I blame him. It's probably the rest of the poor construction involved with those lineups I made. But all right, looking at this Pacers side of the ball, it sounds pretty lame and boring, but I'm going to go back to the well and a lot of these same guys. We're going to have to wait to see what's going on with Brogdon and Sumner. But if both those guys are ruled out again, we can go right back to the well at McConnell at 5,700, especially knowing that there's no De'Aaron Fox playing defense anymore. This team is a little bit more vulnerable against the point guard. They are already one of the worst teams against any position, let alone point guards, just allowing points in general. But De'Aaron Fox, with his speed, his quickness, he's allowed to cut off lanes, cut off some traffic pretty quickly, get into passing lanes, cause a little bit of problems for point guards, especially if he wants to just press them. He's one of those point guards that, I remember I played basketball. I wasn't very good. I played point guard. If there's ever a guy that just fully pressured me court, he was getting the ball from me. No doubt about it. I was turning it over. Fox would be a nightmare. But I'll look at McConnell, 5,700. We know what this guy can do. He can triple-double on any single night. He's a steals machine. There's so many different ways he can get it done. If he's going to play 30 minutes again, sure, sign me up. And outside of that, Sabonis at 10-6. He's getting up there in price. He's been worth it. If Brogdon's out, I'll consider him just because, like I said, I think on the podcast last time, we're going to see them pass out of the post a lot more. We're going to see them try to flow the offense through Sabonis. And in those cases, he's got a real good chance of triple-doubling. So I'll take stabs at both those guys. I don't think I'll pay the $8,800 for LeVert or the $7K for Brissett. And, we can keep McDermott in there at 42. Why not?
Yeah, I think you can take stabs at any of these guys, honestly. But I think I probably have the most interest in Sabonis at 10-6 and TJ McConnell, like you said, at 5-7. They just seem the safest of the values. But I mean, 8,800 for Karis LeVert is quite a bit. But as long as Brogdon's out, I mean, he's gonna have that usage. I don't know. I think he can maybe hit value there still. But why take that risk? I mean, you don't have to. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not again. There's a good reasoning on why you'd play him. He has the upside. He took 28 shots in the last game. Like he put up 52 DK points. He could do it. I'm not saying he can't. I just think there's guys maybe a little cheaper that have the same upside, or there's guys that maybe are the same price that have a better floor. That's the reasons why I'm not playing him. Not that he's a bad play. On to the next game, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. Memphis Grizzlies traveling to Minnesota, taking on the Timberwolves in this one. So, for the injury report, if I could grab it, there we go. Jaren Jackson Jr. has already been ruled out. And then for the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley, Jarrett Culver, both ruled out. Teams are starting to get a little bit healthier, but still missing some bodies. I need JJJ to play every single night. I've been waiting all season for this guy to get on the court. He's one of my favorite young players. Absolutely love this kid. I thought he was the best big man of that draft. And now Ayton's actually starting to turn around and look pretty good to himself. But definitely a matchup where I think we could just look at everybody in here, man. I'll pass it over to you for the Grizzlies takes.
Yeah, I do think you can probably look at a lot of things here. I've got the most interest in John Morant, 8,300, and Jonas Valanciunas, 7,800. So I'm kind of boring in that respect. But any team that's ever going against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I mean, they get a great juicy matchup. Not a lot of defense is going to get played. So I got an interest in the top dogs here. I think you can probably, like you said, take stabs at other guys. So who do you got over there?
Pretty much the same thing as you. I don't mind looking at a couple of these guys. Like I can't go back to the well on Desmond Bane after he just won me money at 1% ownership when he shouldn't have. It was actually one of those set 'em and forget 'em lineups where I was like, maybe Grayson Allen sits. I'm not going to adjust it. I'll just put him in there in that lineup, and it ended up working out for me. But I think definitely looking at the two top dogs here is probably the way I'll go. But with everybody starting to get healthy, we're going to see a lot of these guards: Grayson Allen, Melton, Bane. They're going to chop the minutes. Allen should start, and at 42, we could look at him. Just not a guy that I'm going to be just immediately gravitating towards now that we have Brooks, Melton, Allen, Desmond Bane, all these guys healthy. There's a lot of minutes to go around between the group of the four guys. One of them will probably see 28 to 30. Brooks are guaranteed. The other two or three, who knows? Melton could be in the doghouse one game, and Grayson Allen could be in the doghouse the next. So I'll probably take passes on the rest of the guys, but I definitely think we can get some guys on the other side of the ball. That's for sure.
Who you got? I've definitely got Carl Anthony Towns. Who do you have besides that?
Oh man, I mean, I think we can play everybody here. D'Angelo Russell, 7K. Absolutely love that price tag for him. Played 33 minutes in the last game. We've seen him play 30 plus minutes in several games already. The games that he's not playing generally are either getting out of hand or they don't need him. One thing that he's been doing is struggling from deep. He's only hit 3 of his last 25 3-point shots. This dude is due for a get-right game. He's been just struggling from the field mightily over the last 3 games in general, let alone just from the 3-point land. So this is a good matchup for him. It's a good get-right game for him. He'll probably drop Brooks defensively, and Brooks isn't a slouch necessarily defensively, but it's very similar to how I was looking at Kyle Lowry the other day versus the Lakers. And a 7K for a guy that we know has that 50-point upside. He's in the matchup that doesn't scare me off. There's no reason for me not to be interested in him, I guess, is what it is. So I don't want to go overboard. And by the amount I'm talking about him already at length, people probably think he's going to be my lock-in, chalk, got to play a point guard. I'm not saying that. I'm definitely going to have a fair amount of shares of him. But it's also going to come down to your build. The way that some of these stars and scrub slates work, you just might not end up landing on anybody at around 7K. That just might be the way that your lineup falls. So definitely in play. He's probably going to be my second favorite option. I prefer him over Edwards in this matchup. Not by a whole lot, but definitely prefer him over him just for $400 cheaper, even on a point per outside a point per dollar. I think just by raw points, I prefer him over Edwards too. Karl Anthony Towns, very much in play for me as well. And then even if you want to look at Ricky Rubio at 4,500, again, he's probably going to be playing 28 to 30 minutes as well. They're finding ways to use these guys creatively alongside of each other. I don't mind taking a stab at him. He's put up 37 DK points in that last one against the Pelicans, 49 before that. if we're going to be getting those types of games with him playing 30 plus at 45, he's got to be a value play we consider.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, last time I remember we were at odds at some game. It was the Pelicans game, and you ended up on top there. So I want to get your thoughts there. I don't have Russell on my list. I do have Karl Anthony Towns on there. The reasoning for that is just anytime I dig into the Memphis Grizzlies defense, I always see things that steer me away from them when I'm looking at like prop bets and stuff like that. So their defense I think is a little bit underrated. So that's what scares me off of them. But I don't mind the Russell play, not at all.
Hey. We can't agree everywhere, Keith. You know, we can't. Be a boring show if we did.
That's true.
All right. Anything else here? Are you ready to move on?
No, I'm ready.
3 games left. 8 p.m. Last of the 8 p.m. games. Washington Wizards traveling to Milwaukee. Milwaukee on the second half of a back-to-back. They took on the Nets. Anytime those two teams face, man, it's just fireworks. So no injury report for the Bucks, but for the Wizards, Thomas Bryant, Denny both ruled out. That is it. Everybody else should be good to go. Break it down real quick. Looking at this Wizards team, I expect them to hang in there. I don't expect this to necessarily be a blowout. So for all those reasons, I got to have interest in Russell Westbrook. 11K, he's on the slate. I'm going to play him. It's that simple. I don't need to beat around the bush. This dude just triple doubles every single night. And I don't know, if you're just not playing him on a nightly basis, you're just leaving money on the table. The dude's literally like maybe 1 out of every 5 games, he gets you 50. And that's his miss. I don't care. I'll play him. And that's it. I don't think I'll need to go to too much else. It's not the greatest matchup, but maybe if they decide they actually want to play their best center, Gafford, a couple more minutes, we could actually play him. He's a great point per minute guy, but I can't trust that this rotation is actually going to get figured out with a week left in the season. It just doesn't make sense. With 2 weeks left in the season, so I don't think I can trust anybody else. Westbrook's just going to see all the stats anyway.
Yeah, I think the last couple of weeks, whatever reason, I've just been disrespecting Russell Westbrook on Wednesday slates, and it's bit me, that's for sure. So I'm not doing it anymore. Russell Westbrook's firmly there. I'm gonna lock him in. Gonna play him. He just had the third ever 20 rebound, 20 assist game in the NBA. So in NBA history. So this guy's just on a crazy historic tear. So no more sleeping on this guy. 11K, I'll pay it. I'll eat that price, no problem. The one guy I will look at, he's 3,600. Davis Bertans. Just think that's too low for the amount of shooting ability, offensive ability this guy has. I think it's more of a GPP play than a cash play. Of course, he can always throw up duds, but this is going to be a really fun matchup here. It's going to be fast paced, so I do like some Davis Bertans for sure.
It's a good call because I think we've mentioned it on the pod before, where if you attack the Bucks, you generally want to try to do it either dead center in the paint with a big that's just going to overpower somebody, or if you want to look from the 3-point line, try to avoid some of that trap ball in the middle. All right, on the other side of the ball, looking at this one, obviously, if we like some Wizards, we're going to want to run it back. We expect this game to be pretty high scoring. Hopefully, some back and forth fireworks with the Bucks on the second half of a back to back. Something that we need to keep an eye on what they do if they do decide to rest anybody. I expect them to be pretty much fully healthy, but it is the end of the season. Giannis at 10-9. I prefer Westbrook. But I'd be shameful if I didn't have at least 1 or 2 lineups where I just ran it back with both these guys, go stars and scrubs. Hope for the fireworks like you did. Like I did it today. I played Giannis. I played Durant. I did it the night before or the game before where they played against each other in that showdown slate. I said these 2 guys are just fireworks. When you see 2 kind of superstars, Giannis and Westbrook, Giannis and Durant, these guys get up for these types of games. These back and forth games where it's just the competitive nature of who's the top dog on the court. I want both these guys. If I'm not playing Giannis and I'm playing Westbrook, I don't mind getting shares of Holiday, of Middleton. The Holiday factor, it gives me some pause when you're looking at paying 11K for Westbrook, seeing what he's able to do. He is one of the league's best perimeter defenders, but it's still Westbrook. Even on nights where he struggles, he should be able to get his own. Outside of, the top dogs over here, main 3, I don't think I'm really going to be going to too much as far as like DiVincenzo or Brook Lopez. I just think that we'll have better value already available or that opens up. But again, it's the matchup. If you want to go there, I'm not going to fault you.
Yeah, I've always attacked the Wizards. Those are just they have a better defense than what the scores say, but I don't know. I've read that somewhere on Twitter, but I don't know if I believe that. So
I got a better jump shot than it looks. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know how to say that, but you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But no, I've got a lot of interest in Giannis. I think running it back, with the Westbrook Giannis lineup is really a smart move. I've got some interest in Middleton and some interest in Holiday. I think of those three, that I probably have the most interest in Middleton. 8,200. I just think he's going to get overlooked, and he's been putting up really good games against pretty lackluster opponents recently. So I do got a lot of interest there. Not as much interest in Drew Holiday probably. So I probably go Middleton, then Giannis, then Drew in my interest levels. But yeah, I think running at least one lineup, running Westbrook back with Antetokounmpo is a good move.
Yeah, I mean there's gonna be points aplenty. And it's worth noting in the games where the Bucks do play like a very active, very good point guard, Drew Holiday. It's not like he takes a back seat, but it's hard to exert yourself on both ends of the ball in the way that Drew Holiday could. So like you even see it in games where he goes against Kyrie Irving. He's going to probably be looking at like a low 30s. I think he's averaging about 32 DK points in 2 matchups against this team early in the season. Westbrook. I'm sorry, Giannis. It's worth noting, averaging about 73 DK points in this matchup. So, for what that's worth, there's going to be points aplenty. No matter which way it goes. But we'll move on. Next game, only 2 games left. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. San Antonio Spurs traveling to Utah. A rematch of these two teams just facing off. Rudy Gobert absolutely ate in that one. Nonetheless, Trey Lyles, Derek White both ruled out. For the Jazz, Conley, Donovan Mitchell both rolled out. For me, it's going to be a lot of the same guys I was looking at in the previous matchup when these two teams faced. Don't think I'll go to DeRozan at 83. Wouldn't fault you. He'll probably come close to paying it off, but anytime a guy's topping 8K, I'm really looking for 45 or 50. Especially, that, Keith, we're playing in the GPPs. 5X isn't going to get it done for every single position. We need a little bit more. And I feel like I'm just comfortably getting close to 5X with DeRozan on most nights, and I just need just a little bit more. And DeJounte Murray would probably be the guy I look at 76 if I go anywhere. But most of my love is going to be on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I feel you there. The one guy, and I think you're spot on there with your assessment there. I think you probably need to stay away from DeMar DeRozan. If people are going to play him, that's fine. But DeJounte Murray's 700 less and a better play for GPPs for sure. People are going to overlook DeJounte Murray, so if you want to play somebody in this game, that's the guy to go to. And then I'm also looking at, I'll add in here Lonnie Walker the fourth at 4K. Derek White's out. They need a scoring punch. This guy's capable of scoring in bunches. He doesn't really add a lot of other stats, but if he's scoring and if he's on, he can put up a 30 to 40-point game. I mean, this guy's got scoring ability aplenty. So, and the Jazz are going to be without Conley and without Donovan Mitchell. So, I like the backcourt attacking the Jazz here.
Absolutely. And looking at the other side of the ball, I don't mind if you want to play Rudy Gobert, but I'm not going to pay 8,700 for him. Again, just with what we have available, there's going to be other guys I either prefer just to spend up on or just spend down in different spots. Hopefully, end up with if Rudy gets me 48 and I pay 7,500 for a guy that gets me 45, I'm a winner. I'll take that. So that's probably the approach I'll take. Don't mind it if you want to go there, but these guys are priced up because we've seen them play several games now without Conley and without Mitchell. We're not really getting any discounts. We're paying 6,700 for Ingles, 6,800 for Bogdanovich, 73 for Clarkson. I think all these guys are in great spots. I think all of them are great plays, but I don't think that they're going to be optimal plays for me. So I don't want to say I don't like any of them, but I don't see myself playing any of them.
Yep, I think you're spot on again. The only guy I do have out here on my list here is Bogdanovich, but I did have some interest in Ingles before, but he just let me down a few too many times. He just hasn't been putting up huge lines. They've also been not really staying competitive in games though. They've been blowing people out. So tough to really measure, but yeah, I think I'm probably going to pass on all of them in the end, anyways.
All right, my friend. Final game of the night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. New York Knicks traveling to Denver, taking on the Nuggets. For the Nuggets, Will Barton, P.J. Dozier, Monte Morris, Jamal Murray, all ruled out. Jokic and Zeke Naji are both probable. For the Knicks, Nerlens Noel, Norvin Pell, both questionable. Mitchell Robinson is ruled out. 9 p.m., final game of the night. One of the late game hammers. We're not going to have all the news available, but for me, man, looking at this Knicks team, Yeah, I think Randall makes for a solid GPP play, especially if you think this game, I think it stays competitive. I don't expect it to be a necessarily high scoring game, but I think he makes for a good GPP pivot. I don't think a lot of people are going to go to him. I think with all the other options, Westbrook, Giannis, for all those reasons, based on just ownership, you could look at him. He's probably not my optimal cash or single entry type of guy, but he's there. He's going to probably be looking at a solid floor. And anytime you're not thinking you're going to get a good game from Randall, he knows how to prove you wrong. So I'll keep him on my player pool just for those reasons. Outside of that, I don't think I'll be going to too much over here, except for maybe Taj Gibson if we happen to get that Nerlens Noel news, which we probably won't. So if you're going to play him in that forward or that util spot so you can leave some room for you to adjust in case Noel does play. So that's it for me over here.
Yeah, good call on the util spot. I do have a lot of interest in Gibson, obviously, if Nerlens Noel is out. I mean, who else is going to guard Jokic? I just don't know. It's got to be Taj. So Taj got 33 minutes in that last game when Nerlens had to go out with the injuries. So I like him to get 30 plus again here as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, which is maybe asking a lot. I don't know, but he's always been a good defensive player. Pac-10 top defensive player. So I like it, man. 3,700. I'll definitely pay that. And if you're going to go stars and scrubs, you got to have some scrubs that are going to have some increased opportunities. So I like some Taj. The other guy I have on here, though, I don't have Julius Randle on here. Like you said, I think he's a fine play for GPPs. I think a lot of people aren't going to be on him. Always capable of putting up big numbers. I personally don't really roster him too much, so I just don't have him on here. But the one guy I do have on here is RJ Barrett at 6,900. I do like rostering him. He's going to get the probably Michael Porter Jr. defense here, and they don't have Barton, they don't have Dozier, so they're just thin on the wing, and I just think that there's an opportunity here for RJ Barrett to really step up in a game that the Knicks are. A lot of people are going to be watching this game. It's got playoff implications. It's going to be a competitive game, so I do want to target this game. I think that's probably the guy I'm looking at the hardest, and I think I'd be okay rolling him in cash games too.
Can't fault you. On the Nuggets side of the ball, you said it yourself. They're thin on the wing. What do you think happens here with no Dozier now? Dozier, he's been a significant part of this rotation ever since Jamal Murray went down. He played 22 minutes in that game before he hurt his hip. He's expected to receive an MRI, but all the games prior, it's been high 20s, low 30s minutes. Those minutes are going to be up for grab. Michael Porter Jr. is already playing 30 plus as it is. Mm-hmm. So for me, looking at those minutes, how they're going to get distributed, I expect to see a fair amount of guys like Austin Rivers at 3,400. He's not going to be a great point per minute guy. As we know, any point guard playing with Jokic isn't really playing point guard. But 3,400, he should be looking at 30 plus. And I think Aaron Gordon at 49. We should see a little bit more of him playing the 4. And we might just see Porter primarily playing the 3 a little bit more. Now they're just going to try to get their best guys on the court. And if they're not going to have these guys for playoffs, they're going to have to test these rotations and see what one works best for them, which ones they have the most success with. And they have it now until the NBA playoffs to figure that out. So I would expect to slowly maybe see a few more minutes for a guy like Aaron Gordon going forward. What that means, wait and see. But at 4,900 in a GPP, there's worse stabs you could take on a guy.
Yeah, I've got Jokic and I've got Gordon here, but you did have me curious, and I was just taking a look at the roster while you were talking there. What do we think about Shaquille Harrison? He's 3K. He's bottom of the barrel. And this is just GPPs, obviously. This is just if you're going stars and scrubs and you need the extra cash. But, I've watched him play quite a bit. Obviously, he played for the Bulls before. Defensive kind of dynamo. He's played small forward plenty before, so he could slot into bigger minutes. He's played about 15 minutes the last couple of games. Maybe he gets up to 25 here. I don't know. But, yeah, I think you're probably right that Austin Rivers probably plays more. But I don't know. Shaq Harrison just kind of intrigued me there for a minute.
Listen, if we know Shaq's getting minutes, he's a great point per minute guy. Mm-hmm. That being said, most of that was on the Bulls when they had no guys to actually get points. But I wouldn't mind taking a stab at him if we get the news they're starting, or again, if we see Denver facing a team that we think the game gets out of hand. Absolutely, I can see him playing mid-20s. I just, wait and see approach. It's unfortunate that this is the last game of the night, so we won't have those news probably. But definitely a guy, if you're going to take a random dart throw, you're building multiple lineups. I like that call. I like that call a lot. I prefer him to play the minutes over Rivers for DFS purposes, but we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see and kind of see how they react now with the news with Dozier out. We just saw them make the decision and kind of how they reacted on the fly. But they've had some time off now. They've had a practice. They might be rolling out something new. So keep an eye on what the lineup looks like. Maybe we have news on it early enough where we're not sitting there scrambling last minute.
That's another reason I like R.J. Barrett though on the other side of the ball is if they do slide Aaron Gordon up to that small forward spot, I just think he's better suited as a power forward. I just think he's not quick enough to guard someone like an R.J. Barrett. So that's why I got a lot of interest in R.J. Barrett on the other side, just because of how thin the Nuggets are on the wing. But that's about it.
I want you to be the RJ Barrett. He's another guy, man. I don't play him too often because I just don't get him right. It's something about those shooting guard, small forward, wing combos. I just guess them wrong most times. I just can't do it. But that rounds us out, man. That brings us home. So that brings us to our wonderful player tiers. Player tiers, expensive tier. It's getting passed over to you because I'm a gentleman. I always like to let other people go first. That way, what I do with Santino, it just names 7 guys and leaves me no one left. But I'll let you go right here for me. Who's your expensive guy?
I'm going to go ahead and just say Russell Westbrook, 11K. I'm going to say it because I've been passing on him and I've been disrespecting him, and I want to give him the respect, put some respect on that man's name. He's just been incredible. Maybe he puts up a dud here and proves me wrong, but or proves me right, I should say, because I've been disrespecting him. But no, he's great. It's going to be a great matchup. So 11K for Russell Westbrook. That's my expensive tier play.
Yep, that probably would have been the way I went, and I guess I could just take the cop out and just say Giannis. And I kind of want to, simply because, like I said, with the way my stars and scrubs and the way my initial builds were looking when I was messing around before we jumped on air, I just wasn't finding myself really living in that range where, from Trae Young down to once you hit that AK mark, and that's when I'm starting to consider guys. I'm not really touching that range too much. So, those would be the guys that would be considered the expensive tier outside of the guys over 10K. And I just don't see myself recommending them because I don't see myself playing them. So I'll take the cop out here. I'll just go Giannis because I already said it. I want to try to get some lineups where I have these two guys running back and forth going against each other if possible. Mid tier, we'll say under 8K. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I don't know if I landed a lot of these guys since I'm going stars and scrubs, but if I do end up playing them, we just talked about it. RJ Barrett, I got some interest there. If there's one guy I'm spending up in a mid tier to play, I just have a feeling, man. No PG Dozier, no Will Barton, and Michael Porter Jr. just sucks on defense. So they just have no wings that I think can guard him, and it's not like he's necessarily a force of nature on the offensive end, but I just think he has a plus matchup here in another matchup that's going to be competitive with a lot of playoff implications.
I kind of want to make a little friendly wager on. Again, this is going to sound like I absolutely love D'Angelo Russell, but D'Angelo Russell versus RJ Barrett with only a couple $100 apart.
There's only $100 up between those two, so we'll have to put a little money on that off the air here.
Yeah, a little friendly wager. I don't know. I like to spice it up here and there. That way, next week you have something to talk junk to me about. And if I beat you, odds are, dude, I probably won't even remember. So you'll be all set over there too. If I had to go, I won't use Russell as the mid tier. I think realistically, there's a couple of these guys in the 5K range that I just see myself having more shares of. I'm just gonna say Kings. We'll just leave it there. DeLon Wright and Marvin Bagley. I think both those guys. Trying to make up my mind over which guy I see myself having more shares. It's going to come down to construction, simply as easy as that, depending on where I'm slotting in. But both those guys are extremely viable options. I think I'll play a little bit of both of them. And then value, under 5K, I'll pass it over to you.
I'm assuming that Nerlens Noel is going to be out, and I'm going to go Taj Gibson at 3,700. Like I said, they need somebody to guard Jokic. I'm just liking this matchup a lot, obviously. So Taji boy is my guy. He's going to play some defense. He's going to not foul out, and he's going to guard up that MVP candidate and help the Knicks win this game. How about that?
I like it. I like it. I'm all over Taj. I had some Taj the other night too. Got the 33 from him. I might try to stay on brand. I'll just stay with brand, I guess. Why defer from my brand? I'll just continue saying Kings and Timberwolves guys. I just riding that train. I think Terence Davis 4,400 is going to be playing that increased role, especially in this back-to-back. I like him in this matchup. What we're expecting to be a pretty high-scoring game. So I'll take some stabs at him, small forward eligibility. And, of course, after I just told you not to say multiple people, I'm going to go and do it. 2 times in a row and say Ricky Rubio at 4,500 too. I like both those guys. And that's it, man. That brings us home. So thank you guys for listening. If you have a moment, you can give us a rate and review, 5 stars, thumbs up, subscribe. That way you get the little notification whenever the podcast gets published. You could get that right away so you know whether you want to listen to it the night before, on your way to work, early thing, in the shower, having your coffee, whatever it might be. You will get that, and we really do appreciate it. All the 5 stars. If maybe we won you, a couple bucks, maybe you want some money. Shoot us a tweet, leave a review, let us know how we're doing. If you want to see anything change, if we can do anything better, we want to hear that too. We wanted to just be able to produce the best podcast for you guys. What's going to help you guys the most? Otherwise, why are we here? What are we doing? But follow us on Twitter. You can find me at Mike Apotria, MikeApotria. You can find Keith at Ginsberg Beats, G1NSBERG B3ATS. And that is it, my good friend. Is there anything else you would like to say or leave us with before we get out of here?
I would like to leave you with a saying that I'm just kidding. I have nothing. I don't have anything, but let's go win some money.
All right. Yeah, this is the build-up. I love it. But yes, I'm with him. Let's go win some money. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be with Santino. It'll probably be a trade wreck, but you guys will enjoy it. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.